Hello everyone and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Lyndall Stout. With the recent and very welcome rains that have hit the state, when is the best time to actually apply a pre-emergent herbicide to fields that have just been planted? For some guidance, here's SUNUP's Elizabeth Hokett with OSU Extension weed scientist Dr. Liberty Galvin.
We're here now with our weed scientist, Dr. Liberty Galvin. So Liberty, we're standing on some mud right now. What do you think about all this rain we've been getting?
You know, the rain has been pretty incredible, honestly. We set record low rainfall in October, and then the universe decided to deliver it all to us at the beginning of November.
So obviously we had some delayed planting this year because of this drought that we've been going through, but now that we have some of this rain, what does that mean for weeds?
So it's been a really interesting season because all weeds, just like the crops, really need the moisture before they can germinate and come up out of the ground. But our winter annual weeds really need those cool temperatures. And so we had that really hot, dry October, so we probably weren't seeing any winter annual weeds coming up. But now that we've had a lot of wet and we're just now getting into our cooler temperatures, we're probably going to see a lot of weeds come up in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and so which weeds are we going to see primarily come up?
So the weeds that really love the saturated soils are everybody's favorite, Italian ryegrass. They actually require temperatures between it's about 77 and 50 degrees during the day and about 40 degrees at night in order to germinate. So they really like those cool temperatures. I was just looking at the mesonet, and our 2-inch, kind of almost consistently across the state, our 2-inch soil temperature is about 55 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like pretty perfect for Italian ryegrass. Italian ryegrass has a pretty short pre-germination period. But something really interesting I found is if the soil is too saturated with water, which I imagine in many parts of the state it is quite saturated, Italian ryegrass can actually go into a secondary dormancy. And so that basically means the seed is in the soil, it's ready to germinate, but the conditions are just a little bit too wet. That is not necessarily a bad thing, because I think that means the weeds, they probably are not going to come out in full force this fall.
Yeah, and so since we obviously can't see these weeds, how do we know when to put our pre-emergence down?
Yeah, it's kind of magic sometimes, you know, you're like, how do we control what we can't see? So the information that I found about Italian ryegrass says that once it has germinated, it takes about 10 days to emerge out of the soil. Now that's under the assumption that these seeds are laying on the soil surface. Italian ryegrass doesn't really like to be deep in the soil, and it won't germinate and come up. So if you got moisture, mostly everyone got moisture across the state. And now that the temperatures are 55 degrees in the soil, growers should really go out if they have the opportunity and do a little bit of scouting and just looking in between the rows. Can they see anything sprouting that doesn't look like wheat?
And what about those producers who maybe have just planted and haven't seen their wheat start to emerge yet? Do they still need to put that down right now?
I would actually encourage people to put it down pretty closely to when they plant. There is an opportunity for crop injury to occur with some of our pre-emergent herbicides. They are the pre-emergent herbicides that we have registered for wheat, they are soil applied. And sometimes when those wheat seeds come into contact with that soil that's been applied with that herbicide, they can suffer a little bit of injury. But the fear is that if we get a really hard cold front, that injury is going to be exacerbated because the plant won't be able to kind of grow out of that injury. So over the next couple of weeks, because the soil temperature is still in that optimal germination range, I'm going to be doing some field scouting around Stillwater just to see what I can see and hopefully send out some updates. I'm hoping to get some updates from our friends in the western part of the state as well, because the weather's very different out there, and hopefully some folks in the south. So be able to present some kind of weed population data over the next couple of months.
All right, well, great information, Liberty. Thank you. And we'll be checking back in with you after the holidays for that.